the absolute worst thing. This is unacceptable, right? Like, this is what a heck moment. This is this is totally unacceptable. Hi everyone, this is Pietro Vitale, the luthier from Big Guitars, which made these guitars you're watching on screen now. And since I specialize on multi-string guitars, today I'll break down the cheapest multi-string guitar I could find on the market. So let's break this thing down. The first thing is surely the finish to look at, and this is all matte, of course. I didn't expect like glossy or something, and it's probably a 4 out of 10 because the sanding is not finished. Like, you could never see this on camera, but you can see some shiny spots all around the varnish, especially on the back, but you will never see this on camera, right? And for some details like the black edge, you can see they used the same plastic stencil probably multiple times, so this stencil probably doesn't really grip on the wood, and so you end up with this, which is not really perfect. You can see on the tip, I think you can see like this on the tip. Then you can also notice that they didn't varnish the wood between the neck and the body. There is a slight piece of wood I can see, which is not varnished at all. So you can see the wood pores here, which is open, and this is absolutely not good because humidity, water can get inside and ruin the wood. This is not really much of a concern. Water is not like the kryptonite of wood or something. Yeah, water is not good for wood, surely, but it's not like if some humidity gets in a slight thing here, the guitar will crash itself or something like that. It's not it's not that bad. The other thing to notice is all of the holes are not really finished, are not really rounded on the edge. I will try and show you. In camera it's not really visible. Basically the holes are not finished around the edges, and this is, for me, is an incomplete job basically, because you need to do all of these details and must be perfect. But yeah, for this price I guess it's fine, it's not really a problem. All of the finishes around the neck are fine. You can also see the inlays are not perfect, are not perfectly centered on the height of the fretboard. But again, that's totally fine. And there are also 2 missing screws for the hole that covers the thrust rod. And you can also see that there are no string reducer. I think that's the English term for that. And that could cause some maybe troubles in the tuning. Could lose tuning a bit easier, but that's also not really a huge problem. The first actual problem I want to show you is the fret axis, the high fret axis, which is almost not present. It's not like it's not comfortable at all. It's fine, I guess, but it's not perfect, and I'd say this is like a 6 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10. I'd prefer this to be better shaped for your hands, you know. It's basically, I show you. You can see that this corner is too sharp, basically, and there is no roundness, which helps the hand here. And yeah, this is not great. So the last things about the small details are the bridge, which is not perfectly aligned, but the strings are perfectly aligned to the fretboard, and the back of the bridge is not perfectly aligned with the front of the bridge. I don't think I can show this on camera, but you can maybe notice a bit, especially on the first string, that the bridge is not like perfectly aligned with the strings. But this is really not a problem because the strings are aligned, so it's fine. The guitar is totally playable, it's not really a problem. So now I'll talk about the really positive aspect of this guitar, and then we'll talk about the really negative stuff about this guitar. So the best thing about this guitar are the frets, which are really great when you play it, and you can really notice that these frets are pretty high, are really good for a multi-string guitar. They are perfectly aligned, there is no weirdness going on, no weird buzzing, and so they are almost perfect for this kind of guitar. It's not like the best frets you can have on a multi-string guitar, also because it could be a matter of taste, I guess. They are pretty close to be very, very good. Let's say the frets are a 8, maybe 9 out of 10. It's almost perfect. The other nice thing is the scale offsets, maybe you can call that, which is basically what I mean is the position of the frets, since this is a multiscale, and you can position the two scales, the short scale and the long scale. You can position these scales like I can move my hand and maybe make you understand what I mean. This scale offsets basically, which I call that because there is basically an offset here on the nut on the first fret, how you want, and I usually use the first fret as reference. It's pretty good. This is like probably a 6, maybe a 7 out of 10, which is really great because these offsets really impact on your playing, especially bending on above the 12th fret. Of course, this is not perfect at all. It's just good, but it's a really nice thing to have. I wouldn't buy it if this was worse, because I'd put the offset slightly down for the long scale part, so the first fret should be more like this, like it's like this, should be maybe like this, and I guess it's fine, because when you go and bend these strings, especially when you are doing some classic bends here, classic bending, so you have to bend the string more, the more the frets is going away, and so the more straight these frets are around, let's say around the 12 frets, the more straight they are, the better. And the 12th fret I can see that is already going through the long scale, and this is not great, but there are guitars which cost 10 times this and have the same problem. So now let's talk about the negative stuff, the spicy stuff. First of all, the pickups, which should be ceramic, etc, etc, so it should give a high output, let's say, but they don't really give an high output, maybe I'd say mid output. That's really not the problem here. The problem is that the two pickups are unbalanced, have an unbalanced volume, and that's really bad, because you want to have kind of the same volume around the two pickups. In a perfect situation, you want to have the same volume. So you say, yeah, whatever, you can just raise the pickup, right? You can just set up your guitar, you're a luthier, you can do that. Yeah, I would, but the problem is that these pickups are just held there by the screws, and you can't do anything about it. I can unscrew this as much as I want. The pickup will stay there, and I can't screw it more because there is the base of the screw blocking the screw. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there are no springs in the under the pickup which allows you to raise the pickup or lower it as you wish. And so this means that they are locked in position basically. To raise the pickup, I'd probably have to remove the pickup and maybe add some springs under the pickup, or maybe add something that just will raise the pickup. But I think I'll try with some strings. I'll talk about that later. The main problem about this is that if you have two different volumes and you're not a luthier, or you don't want to screw too much with the guitar because you're unsure what are you doing, maybe you break something or stuff like that, you have no way to fix that. You have two different volumes and that's it. However, I suggest you to remove the string and carefully raise the pickups. If you have some springs, you can do it by yourself, or you can't even put some piece of papers to raise the pickups, so they'll sit on the paper and they of course will raise. You don't really need an experience for that. The only advice I can give you is that when you remove the pickup, remember that there are some wires going into the guitar. So if you pull it too much, you can break the wires, and that's it. It depends on which part of the wire you break. That could be unfixable, and you have to throw away the pickup. I mean, everything is fixable if you have a luthier, or you are a luthier, of course, but just be careful with the wires. So out of 10, this gets probably a 4 out of 10, maybe a 3 out of 10, because it's unacceptable that someone just to set up a guitar, and maybe he's not a luthier, okay, he's a guitarist. Every guitarist should be able to set up a guitar, I guess, and you can even watch online how to do it, but you don't have the feature to set up the pickup height, and that's really weird. That can't go above 4 out of 10. I'll give it a 3. So now for the worst thing of this guitar. The absolute worst thing. This is unacceptable, right? Like, this is what a heck moment. This is totally unacceptable. The nut is not finished. So the action on the first fret, and so the action on the whole guitar, it's totally wrong. And yes, you can fix the action. Yes, you can fix the action from the bridge, and of course setting up the truss rod in the perfect way. But you cannot fix the action from the nut, and so forth, from the first fret, which is absolutely important. Many people will use this guitar to play metal and to play solos, to play stuff which is fast, and they need a lower action than this, surely. Many metal guitarists use a low action, and this is really terrible. So you basically have a guitar made for metal which has a high action on the first fret, and that's like absolutely no. This takes probably 1 out of 10, not more, because just a standard guitar guy which want to buy a guitar and play it, maybe set up the guitar right and play it, and they maybe don't want like a super finished perfect guitar. They don't care, they will spend less money on a guitar, it doesn't matter, it's fine, okay, and they just want to have a playable guitar, and the frets make it playable. The pickup will need some weird setup, but the nut, you can't You can't give this nut to people, and that's like a weird sentence, I know. I'll try and show you better. If you can see how high the action is, I don't think you can actually see that, and I don't think I can make it very clear on camera. I can try. The point here is, if you don't know a luthier, you are not a luthier, how you fix this problem? You need to learn how to slot the nut, how to make the nut slots here, because these slots are here, so the strings won't move. The strings are locked on the nut. It's not a problem, but the string is really high. Like on my guitars, this action should be 1/4. This is like more than a millimeter, I think, and it should be at least 1/3. And maybe the error on the machinery they use, it's like around 1 millimeter. So you, in that case, you need to bring the action to a 1 millimeter. So if the error goes too far and you get like 0.5 millimeter of error, it's fine. It's way lower than you expected, but it's fine. Actually, it's better. If the machinery goes wrong and make these slots lower, you're really lucky. Or maybe these slots are way higher than they should be and I'm very unlucky, I don't know. But if you buy this guitar, you need to go to a luthier. And since you bring the guitar to a luthier, you also will need to make the luthier set up the pickup. It's a pretty easy job. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to tell prices, maybe it's better not to tell prices, but let's say 100, 150 total to a luthier, which can bring this guitar to a state where you can play it like a professional guitar, which, alright, it has not the finish of a professional guitar, but it's fine. As playable and stability, etc., it can become a really professional guitar. Of course, for a professional sound, I also recommend to change the pickup completely. They are fine, they sounds fine, it's not bad. They're ceramic and they have few windings. I think the copper windings are, from the sound, I think I can tell they are around 5,000. I think, but I can be totally wrong on that. I should break down one of these pickups to say that, and but I won't do that. And now for the last things, we'll see what's in there. I still didn't see it, so this will be a live reaction, I guess. Alright, let's see. Okay. Wow, you see what I see, right? Wait, I show you closer. This is pretty interesting. This is really interesting. So basically there is no shielding, and so I expect there is no shielding also on the bottom of the pickups, and this is pretty bad. I'd expect like a bad shielding, like with something that has a high resistance, because for some reason everyone thinks that that is better for shielding. I don't know. I don't know why, because grounding, if you need to ground something, the shielding is needed for grounding reasons, you need to be fast and you need to bring the electron as fast as possible with less resistance to the ground, right? That's the concept. So here we have no ground. I mean, we have the ground on the... I mean, we of course have the grounding on the jack, but there is absolutely no shielding. And this is I think this is a problem. This will cause some more noises based on where you are. If you are totally shielded by every radio or something, it's fine. But if you are not, some of the radio interference will get into the system, and then you'll get it to your amplifier. So yeah, this is pretty bad. Also, I noticed that there is nothing here about varnishing, painting, and this is like open wood basically, and that's really not good at all. I think just this hole takes like a 3 out of 10, because this is pretty bad. So about the wiring, there isn't much to say. I can say that there is no bleeder for the high frequency pass or something like that. And yeah, there isn't very much else to say here. So now let's talk about what can I do with this guitar. What can you ask a luthier to do on the guitar as works to make it way better. If you want me to show the final result, and you can ask me in the comments if you want me, I can maybe make a video about that. I'll tune this up in a weird way, which I think should be a new standard. I also think that 8-string guitars, multi-string, should be a new standard of guitars for the modern guitarists, because not just metal, but everything, every genre, because it opens to many possibilities, and you basically have more to play with, and the guitar that way can take some of the high notes on the piano range and some of the low notes on the bass. And of course, if you have a bassist on the band, and you also have a guitar which covers the same frequencies, and you're worried about playing on the same frequencies or something like that, I know that's an argument many people do, but that makes no sense in my book, because first of all, the bass line and the guitar line shouldn't be like exactly the same. You have two different instruments. I know in many metal genres, which I love, and the bass and the guitar basically do the same thing on two different octaves. Okay, but in modern metal and modern music, this shouldn't happen very often. And also you have two very different tones, so it makes no sense as argument for me. But I can maybe do a video about why I think the 8-string guitar should be the new standard. So let's start with the first string. I'll tune the first string up to A4, and you cannot do that with a normal string, and you need a very special string which I bought from Octave for Plus, and this is not a sponsor, but their strings are amazing. Like their strings is not just a premium product, that's like the top of the top product. This like I'm confident to say that Octave 4 Plus are the best string out there you can buy, because in their service you contact someone which also asks you how you play the guitar to handmade your strings. So based on what you play, how you play, and what the scale of the guitar is, what's the length of the nut to the tuners, they'll ask you everything, and they'll make the strings handmade for you. And of course the price is not like earnable price or something like that, of course, because these are handmade strings. But if you want really a premium string, I highly suggest you to go to Octave 4 Plus, which I repeat is not a sponsor, but it seems like it at this point. This is just my opinion, alright? This is just my opinion. For the first strings, I was saying I'll tune up to A4 with a 007 probably. I'll also test the 008. And from the second string to the seventh, I'll just tune up like a normal 6-string guitar with these gauges. For the first string I'll use the Dario string, a plain steel 007 or maybe a plain steel 009, which is the Dario string, so it's a really nice string. So this is the PL 009, and I have also the 008 and the 007, and the 007, as far as I know and I tested, you can tune that up. It must be high carbon steel, by the way, and you can tune that up to maybe G. You can to tune up to G4, but it's not right totally safe, because the string will be really tight. You can play it, you can slight vibrato on it, but those aren't strings that are supposed to be tuned up to G4, while the Octave 4 Plus, of course, are made for that. So from the third string to the sixth one, I'll use the Primo's Linky from Erniable, which is a great brand also. So I have 12, 16, 24, 34 and 44. I've chosen these gauges really carefully, watching on the tension of each strings, based on the scale length, basically. And also I don't want too much tension on the strings which I usually do a lot of bending on, which is the fourth, the third and the second in this case, to fix a bit that problem with the offset I was talking earlier. So if the strings have less tension, it's easier to bend, and if the offset is slightly wrong, it's harder to bend. So these two should be balanced, and I should be able to play it very comfortably. For the 8 strings, I'm using the original string, which is a 59. Some website I read that it's a 60. Whatever, I think whatever, because 59, 60 is not really that much of a difference, and I'm tuning this to A1. So since the 6th string is an A2, the standard 5th string of a guitar, I'll tune the 8th string as a drop configuration, like when you play drop D configuration. So you can play every song you know on the middle strings from the 7th to the 2nd, because this is just a guitar, and you can add a high note on chords, on scales, on patterns, you know, on licks and stuff, and you can have lots of fun with the first string. And then the combination of the A1 is very easy to understand, because you have A on the 8th string, A on the first string, you have E on the 7th string and E on the 2nd string. Allows you to extend the guitar range without going totally mad with if you know the caged, if you know your chords and stuff. It will be pretty easy to add some stuff, and also pretty fun to add something really new to your playing. Then of course I'll need to fix the pickups height. I'll probably set up some springs under the pickups, some wide springs most probably. I'll of course, as first thing, I need to do the slots on the nuts, which is very easy, okay, but I didn't expect I had to do that. I mean, for a luthier it's really easy. If you know your way around with guitars, making nut slots should be very easy. So I'll maybe take the challenge to do the access to the higher frets, to smooth this out basically with a machine. I'll try and smooth this out and maybe pass some varnish, not to leave the wood just open, and maybe I'll do that. I want to do that, but I don't know, maybe I'll try and play it and see how comfortable I get with this, and if I don't, I'll probably do it. Then I'll need of course to add the missing grounding, the missing shielding and ground it, and I add the shielding and ground it under the pickups, of course, because I didn't see, but we know there is none there. I'll probably pass some varnish also, not to leave the wood to completely open to water or humidity or whatever. And maybe I can also redo the welding with some silver soldering thin. I could also do that if I see that the guitar is too noisy or there are too much interference. As final thing, I can also do some inhales. Inhales maybe, or maybe something that can track where the frets are. So if you want to see the final result, leave me some feedback, and if you like the video you can share the video or do whatever. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!